So before we begin today's topic, which is going to be minimum spanning trees, I remember last time we talked about this algorithm to find whether a graph is two edge connected or not. And I said that there are two minor errors in this procedure, जो हमने लिखा था last time. Okay, so the idea of the procedure is correct, but this pseudocode itself has a mistake. In fact, two mistakes. So yeah, the point is, if you run this, if you implement it in this form, then it's going to give you a wrong result. So anyone thought about that? Yeah, if not, then we will not discuss it today. Then I will give you some more time to think about it, because it's important that you think about it. Otherwise, you will never understand this procedure. Neglect the tree edges. Okay. So Aryan, can you expand on that a bit? Like, what do you exactly mean by neglect the tree edges? So what is exactly the error in this pseudocode? Very good. Okay. So, chalo, at least somebody has thought about it. Good. So here is what Aryan is saying. Okay. So let's think about an edge, right? So remember, I'm trying to find out whether this edge is a bridge edge or not. And in order to do that, and the point in the whole procedure where I'm going to do this is when I call the recursion from the vertex V, right? तो यहाँ पे हम क्या कर रहे हैं? What we are doing is we are looking at all the edges that are adjacent to V. So this is this loop, and we are doing two cases. So if it's unvisited, then of course we are calling the recursion and we are updating our DBE variable to the minimum of the current DBE and the thing that we are getting from the recursion. Okay, so that part is fine. But if you look at the other part, here हम क्या कर रहे हैं? Here what we are doing is, if the other endpoint, तो V से जो भी ये जा रही हो, उसका जो other endpoint है, वो अगर already visited है, तो हम उसको minimum of the current DBE और arrival of W से update कर रहे हैं. Now the problem with this, so suppose ये edge भी तो आप consider करेंगे इस loop में. ये वाला जो edge है, this edge between V and its ancestor, तो ये भी इन edges में से तो आएगा एक बार ना एक बार, right? Okay. So the problem is that the arrival time of U is always less than the arrival time of V. Okay. Can I say that the arrival time of U is 1 less than the arrival time of V? Is it true that the arrival time of U is exactly 1 less than the arrival time of V? No. Yeah, clearly not. Because what can happen is that U का और भी children हो सकता है. So maybe you had, sorry. That's not the, right? So what can happen is that after you arrived at U, you might have visited those children first, and then you are visiting U. And then you are visiting V, right? So it's not necessary that the arrival time of V is exactly 1 more than the arrival time of U. But surely we can say that arrival of U is less than the arrival of V. तो ये तो गड़बड़ है, फिर तो हमेशा जो है आपका ये अपडेट हो जाएगा. Okay, then this condition check, it becomes redundant now. This is always going to be if DB, this is always going to say a no, right? No matter whether it's a bridge edge or not. तो ये एक mistake है. तो ये आपको इस procedure में you have to rectify this mistake, that you should not be considering the edge which goes to its immediate ancestor. And it's very easy to do, right? You keep some kind of information that, okay, this is its parent or something. So you don't update your DBE for the edge which is going to its parent. Okay, so that's one issue. एक और issue है इसमें, a similar issue. What is that? Don't check for root node. Very good. क्योंकि root node के लिए क्या होगा? Root node के लिए, so I will not go into detail anymore. I think you should think through this. Root node के लिए क्या होगा? हमारा ये जो procedure है, right? ये हमेशा जो है ये db इक्वल टू अराइवल ही रिटर्न करेगा, क्योंकि देयर आर नो बैकेजेस। आई मीन रूट तो सबसे ऊपर है, तो जो भी नीचे से जो भी बैकेजेस आ रही है वो रूट तक ही आ सकती है, रूट से ऊपर तो नहीं जा सकती, राइट? So again, you will always falsely get this condition to be correct. db equal to arrival of v, right? So you should also have to keep you also need to keep a check that whenever you are checking this condition, it's not the root and something like that. Okay, so ये दो minor mistakes है इसमें, so you should keep that in mind. Okay, good. I'm happy that somebody thought this through. ठीक है, clear होगा सबको? Everyone okay with whatever we discussed? Good. Okay, so right, so today we would be starting with spanning trees. So I wanted to do another application of DFS, especially directed DFS, but it's a bit non-trivial. So what I decided is, so towards the end of this course, 2-3 lecture I will keep for some advanced material. So maybe I can cover that as part of those lectures. It's a bit advanced. I mean, yeah, the algorithm is very easy to state, but why it works, explaining that and building the intuition, it requires a bit of work. So let's defer it for now and move on to something else. Okay, so minimum cost spanning trees. So this is something you already have seen. I'm sure all of you know about these algorithms that we are going to talk about. But then again, you know, what I realized is it's often good to revisit these things, yeah, because different people have different way of exposing the algorithm. So maybe I have a different way of doing it than you have seen before. And more importantly, we would be doing the proof of correctness is in much more detail than what you might have seen in one of your previous courses. Okay, so we will do a very, very formal proof of, and it's almost a complete proof of why these algorithms actually produce a minimum cost spanning tree. Yeah. Okay. So everyone knows what a spanning tree is, right? So, and I think we also talked about this in the first lecture. So I'm given a graph, and I'm assuming it's a connected undirected graph, and I have costs on my edges. Okay. So just for the purpose of these lectures, I'm going to assume that the edge costs are distinct, and you will see that I will use this in my proof at some point. But again, as we have said in most of our discussion, that these proofs go through even if the edge costs are not distinct with slight modifications. Okay, but for now I am assuming that all the edge costs are distinct, right? Okay, so what is a spanning tree? Well, it's a tree such that all the vertices of my graph are present in this tree. Yeah, so in some sense it spans the entire set of vertices in my graph. And I think we know all these properties that, well, if it's a spanning tree, then it must, so if there are n vertices in my graph, it must have n-1 edges because it does not have cycle, and so on and so forth. Okay. And let me actually reinforce the importance of solving this problem. You know, when communication networks first came into being, I think this was really the problem that people tried to solve efficiently. And the reason being that somehow spanning trees, in some sense, it's the minimally connected subgraph of your graph. Okay, so if you just want to know that what is the bare minimum that I have to do, if I just care about keeping my nodes connected. Of course, your whole graph is a connected graph. You can keep your whole graph, but maybe it's not required. Okay, so you just need to ensure you don't have cycles and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Am I mute? Am I on mute? Okay. Am I back now? Okay. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, Zoom somehow recognizes me as something else and just mutes my voice. Okay. Yeah, I will repeat. So, okay, I was not saying too much. I was just saying that the importance of computing minimum spanning tree lies in the fact that it's a minimally connected subgraph. So let's say you are trying to design a network and you just want to do it in the cheapest way possible. So, and you have all possible options of connecting different nodes. So you can represent this in the form of a graph, and then you can compute the minimum cost spanning tree. Yeah, because remember, if you have to create a network, you need to pay for your connections and stuff, right? These are cables or whatever, some form of resource. So you want to minimize your resource and you want to ensure connectivity. And in those cases, minimum spanning tree is the answer. Yeah, that's one example, but there are tons of applications of the minimum spanning tree problem, which is why it has received so much of attention. There are at least 5 algorithms to solve the MST problem. You probably know 2 of them. There are others as well. Okay. Chalo, I think that's enough motivation. Okay, so what is the minimum cost spanning tree in this graph? Well, if I just look at these green edges, then that gives me the minimum spanning tree in this particular case. Yeah, and the cost is 15. Okay, so you can check that if you use any other tree, then the cost will always be more than 15. And one important property, maybe I should write this down. So fact. So I'm not proving this. You can try to prove this in the privacy of your home. The fact is, if edge costs are distinct, then anybody knows what I want to write here? Yeah, then it's a unique MST, right? So then MST is unique. Okay. So it's a nice little proof. You can try to do this at home. So if all the edge costs are distinct, then then there is only one MST in a graph, right? But you can imagine that's not necessarily true all the time. I mean, if the edge costs are not distinct, you can very well have two different trees, both of which are MSTs. And in those cases, your algorithm should return any one of them. But for now, I'm just assuming this. Okay, so the algorithm that we are going to talk about today is due to Prim's. I think Prim or Prim's, I don't know. Yeah, it's Prim probably. So it's Prim's algorithm. Right. Okay. So we'll be talking about we'll describe the algorithm and we will try to prove why this algorithm is correct. Yeah. And then we'll talk a bit about implementation and all that. Okay. So what is the basic idea of Prim's algorithm? Yeah. So, even before going into, okay, edges are added and all that, what is the basic idea in how it tries to build a spanning tree? So the idea is the following, that Prim's algorithm always maintains a subset of vertices. Let's call it S. Okay. And it tries to maintain the following invariant, that this subset S, so it will keep adding edges. So as the algorithm progresses, it will keep adding edges to its solution. And the property that it will try to maintain is this set S is always connected. Okay, so that's sort of an invariant that Prim's always tries to maintain. So it will start at any vertex. It's a connected graph, so I don't care about where I start. So in this particular example, let's say this is my, in some sense, the root vertex. Okay, so let's call it V. So hum V se start karenge. So the initialization of S happens with a single vertex. And then at every iteration, I try to include one vertex from V minus S to S. तो ये जो white में जो vertices है, those are part of V minus S. उनसे I will choose one vertex to be added to this set S. And whatever is S will always remain connected. Okay, of course, we'll formally prove this, but the intuition is that I will keep adding edges. So whatever I'm adding inside S will always remain connected to C. Okay, or connected to the root. And of course, then they will be mutually connected as well. Okay, so that's the basic high-level idea of Prim's algorithm. Now the question is that how do you choose this new vertex to be added? Okay, so that's because I can do it arbitrarily, right? I mean, I can always select some edge so that it ensures connectivity with whatever I have added so far, and I can do this procedure, right? But that might not guarantee that I have a minimum spanning tree. So who can tell me how do I choose an edge to add, or how do I choose this new vertex to be added? So I hope everyone understood what I have said so far. Same as in BST. No, BST में कोई cost नहीं है. हाँ, good. So okay, so someone wants me to repeat the high level idea. So the idea is the following. So I start with some set S. So इसको मैं S बोल देता हूँ. ठीक है? So my idea would be to gradually grow this set S by adding more and more vertices. Every iteration में I will try to add one vertex to my set S. Okay? तो वो vertex मैं कैसे add करूँगा? I will look at the edges that are going out of S. Yeah? And I will choose one of the edges. So that will ensure that I have included a new vertex in my set. And it also ensures that जो भी I have included so far, they are mutually connected by the edges which I have included so far. Okay. Now the question is that there are several choices, right? So which edge do I choose in order to expand my frontier? So in some sense, you are expanding your frontier, capital S. Okay. Yeah. So we all know that PRIMS is a greedy algorithm. So what I choose is the minimum cost edge that is available to me. Okay. So for example, यहाँ पे मेरा set अभी क्या है? It's a singleton vertex capital C. So the edges that are going out of here are 5 and 9. And which is the minimum one? Well, 5 is the minimum one. Why I am doing this? That will become clear once we finish the proof of correctness. Okay. But for now, at least intuitively, it seems like a good choice. It's a locally greedy choice. No reason to believe that this is actually going to give you the minimum spanning tree. It's highly non-trivial and not at all obvious, but at least that seems like a reasonable greedy choice. Okay. So I included my set, included this edge, which is CF. And now I have included a new vertex in my capital S. तो मेरा capital S क्या होगा? पहले मेरा capital S था ये. Now my capital S has actually grown. तो ये ऐसे बन गया. ठीक है? What is the next edge that is going to be selected? Yeah. So the next edge that is going to be selected is the edge which is BF. ठीक है? तो आपको बस ये देखना है कि ये जो नया frontier आपने बनाया. So I call this a frontier. It's like a wave that is expanding out. Okay. So which are the edges? And remember, this is very important. And this is a major difference with the other algorithm, which is known as Kruskal's algorithm, right? I am not considering all the edges in my graph. So at any iteration, I am just considering the edges that are crossing this frontier. बस वही edges मैं देख रहा हूँ. Okay. So this is a major difference. Please keep this in mind. Kruskal does not work like that. Kruskal actually takes the minimum globally minimum edge और उसको add कर देता है. That we are not doing here. So in this iteration, in the second iteration or the third iteration maybe, I have three choices. So I can take either CB, I can take either FB, or I can take FE. These three edges are crossing this frontier. So my set S is now this thing, the bigger ellipse. So of course I should take the minimum one, and then I have included the vertex B in my graph, in my spanning tree. ठीक है? So अभी मेरा status क्या है? अभी मेरा solution में ये दो green edges included है, and I have included the three vertices C, B, and F in my set capital S. So my set capital S now looks like that. Okay. And I will repeat this procedure. So what is the next edge that is going to be selected now? What is the next edge? It's 1. And here I have made a mistake. Okay. So I realized just before the lecture that I have made a mistake here. So yeah, I have included this edge 3. This is wrong. Okay. So this is absolutely wrong. This edge is not going to be selected. Okay. So this edge is going to be selected. Yeah. Remember why? Because this was my set. So this was my current set S. So इससे the minimum cost edge that is going out is clearly 1 and not 3. So I should not have included 3. तो अभी मेरा ये बन जाएगा, ठीक है। लेट मी एक्चुअली फिनिश द प्रोसीजर इन दिस पिक्चर। तो मेरा अभी ये इंक्लूडेड हो जाएगा, ओके। So please everyone note, this is a mistake. I should not have included 3. I should have included 1 in my tree. Okay. So how does my S look like now? Well, ये फिर से expand हो गया, तो ये ऐसे बन जाएगा अभी, okay. इसके बाद which is the one that I should select? Yeah, so I should select the H2 now. Good. So I should select the H2. Yeah. तो अभी मेरा ये include हो गया, okay. तो अभी मेरा ये expand हो गया फिर से, तो ये ऐसे बन गया, right? And now I should include the last edge, which is the edge of cos 3. So abhi again remember, I will just look at the edges that are crossing the purple barrier. उसके अंदर जो भी edges है वो अभी मैं consider ही नहीं करूंगा. For example, when I try to find the minimum, I will not even consider the edge of cos 9, right? Why? Because that is completely included inside the purple region. The only edges that I will consider to add in my final step are the edges that are crossing my purple barrier. और वो edges क्या है? एक 8 cost का है, एक 3 cost का है, और एक 6 cost का है. And now obviously I will choose the 3 cost one. Okay, so that's the last edge that is going to be selected. CB is not part of, no, CB is part of the set S. So see, because once you have included the vertices C and B inside your set S, तो सारे जो edges इनमें आपस में जा रहा है, they are all part of this set now. But yeah, that's not part of your solution. Part of your solution are only the green edges here, because remember, you just want a tree. You don't want to include all edges in your graph. Set में आप बस vertices include कर रहे हो, yeah, and edges are included as part of the tree. So your set S is always a set of vertices, right? Okay, good. तो termination condition क्या है हमारा? तो ऐसे तो ठीक है. In this picture, I will terminate like this. So the termination condition is that when you do not have such edges to consider. What do I mean by that? So I will end the procedure when I have this set S and I find that there are no edges crossing this barrier. Okay, Kevin says that when V minus S is empty. Is this actually correct? Is this morally correct? It will return excellent. Okay, it's morally correct because in hindsight it's correct, because you will, but that is something you should prove. You should prove that if your graph is connected, then it will actually include all the vertices in your set S. But algorithm चलाने से पहले वो तो हमें पता नहीं है. So morally you should not do this. Morally, how the way you should terminate is the following, because देखिए यहाँ पे मैं connected graph दिखा रहा हूँ, but in real life you might not have a connected graph. So in that case, you should look for a more general procedure. So then what should be the termination condition? The termination condition would be the following, that you have this set S and you have the set V minus S, and there are no edges going across them. Because if there are no edges going across them, then there is no question of choosing a minimum, right? So then that is the point that you are going to stop your procedure. Okay, and we will prove that this indeed, yes, then Kevin, but that is what you should prove, that if the graph is connected and if your termination condition is what I have said, then it is indeed a spanning tree. Yeah, okay. Hindsight may, if you know this and you know that your graph is connected, then you can keep your termination condition as well. But in real life, we don't have any way of knowing that, right? And maybe then you don't have a spanning tree. You have a spanning tree on all the vertices that are connected to where you started from, or something like that. Okay, but you should always look for a more general termination condition, and this is without loss of generality. So you have this set S, you have the set V minus S. You are just checking whether there is any edge crossing this barrier or not. If there are no edges crossing the barrier, then you just stop your procedure. Okay, everyone clear about this? Any iota of doubt in anyone's mind? Yeah, so that is Prim's algorithm at a high level. So there are details, of course, about the implementation, but that we will take later. All right. Okay. So right. So I have drawn the final tree correctly, of course, because there is only one MST in this graph. But yeah, please remember that the way these edges were added was wrong. So I had mistakenly added 3 first. That should not have been the case. But what we did today is correct. Okay, good. Okay, so let's just quickly go through the pseudocode. It's fairly simple, right? And again, this is at a very high level. I'm not talking about implementation yet. Okay, so yeah, this is just a summary of whatever I have said so far. So I initialize the set S with a singleton vertex, and I initialize an empty tree. So you check whether your current set has some edge which is going across. If yes, then you choose the minimum cost edge among those, and then you include that in your tree. Okay, and you update your set S. Okay, and you terminate when there are no such edges. Just return T. Okay, good. Okay, so how do we prove correctness? And you know, I really want to do this in a bit detail. The reason being that I also dropped in yesterday's tutorial, and there was somebody asking that, okay, how exactly are we supposed to write the proofs, in how much detail? So I just want to do more and more proofs in the class so that you know, it's easier for you to write in the exam, because I understand that there is still this this sort of confusion about how much to actually write to be able to get full credit or not. So hopefully, as we see more and more proofs, it will become clearer that how much is expected of you. Okay, good. So abhi we want to prove the correctness of Prim's algorithm, and we need to do this in 2 parts. So first of all, I have to prove that Prim's actually returns a spanning tree of the graph. Okay, abhi to even that is not clear. At least it's not clear to me. Yeah, because remember, all you are doing is at every iteration you are adding a bunch of edges, right? But who says that this is going to be a spanning tree of your graph? So first of all, how do you even prove that this is a spanning subgraph of your graph? How do you know, as Kevin was saying, right? That, you know, how do we know that you actually included all the vertices in your set S at the end of the day? Okay, पहली बात. दूसरी बात है, how do you prove that you do not end up having a cycle in your graph? वो तो हम check नहीं कर रहे कहीं पे. But remember, if you want a spanning tree, you better not have a cycle in your graph. So both these things are not yet clear, right? So we have to prove both these facts, and that will prove that Prim's indeed returns a spanning tree of your graph. Okay. And the second claim, which is probably more crucial in some sense, is that, okay, it returns a spanning tree, but what is the guarantee that it actually returns the minimum spanning tree of your graph? And again, remember here, because I am assuming that the edge costs are unique, so there would be edge costs are distinct. There is a unique minimum spanning tree, but in general, Prim's will return one of the MSTs of your graph. Okay, so we will do this proof in 2 parts. Okay. So let's go ahead with the first claim. And in order to be able to do that, in fact, this is a nice opportunity for me. Okay, there's a question. In the previous example, CBU mentioned in the set would be counted as a loop. What do you mean CB is counted as a loop? So CB आप कब consider कर रहे हो? So when you are देखो CB आप so CB आप 2 time consider करोगे, I think 3 time. So in the first iteration you will consider CB, but you are not including CB, right? So what's the question? No, I don't understand this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, in case of disconnected graph, you cannot have one spanning tree, but what we can have is what we call a spanning forest. Okay, so it would be a bunch of trees. For each connected component of your graph, you will have a spanning tree, but the same algorithm will still work. Okay, so basically you have an outer loop, right? So you start at any source any route, you go on till you can add edges. Then at some point, if you cannot add any more edge, you just check whether there are any, unconnected vertices left in your graph. And this again, you can do in linear time. Yeah. So you go to another source and you keep doing Prince algorithm. Okay. But what we are proving here is that in one connected component, this algorithm will end up connecting everybody. Okay, so Mitakshi is asking, isn't proving claim to enough? So Mitakshi, why is it enough? I don't see why this algorithm will return a spanning tree. So that needs a proof, right? I mean, in your algorithm, there is nothing explicit which says that this is going to be a tree. That needs a proof. Yeah. I'm just saying that I will do this in two parts. Yeah. So this is the main claim, but I will just do this in two parts. That first of all, it's a spanning tree, and secondly, it's a tree which is of minimum cost. Yeah. Right. So so that's the intuition. So at least for the spanning part, but let's just do it a bit more, okay, a bit more slowly. Okay. So in order to do this proof, what we need is the notion of cuts in my graph. Okay. So what is a cut in a graph? And this is actually an opportunity for us to talk about cuts. And we will be talking about cuts again when we talk about network flow algorithms. I don't know if you have already seen that in your graph theory or something. Okay, so what is a cut in a graph? Well, let's say I'm given a graph. A cut is nothing but a partition of vertices. As simple as that. Okay? Please remember this definition forever. And there is no restriction on how these partitions look like, except the fact that the partitions cannot be empty. So what is not a cut is everything on the left hand side and nothing on the right hand side. Yeah, so there will be these two sets. So one I call S and another, let's say I call S bar. Yeah, but there should be some vertex on each side. As long as that is satisfied, then it qualifies as a cut in your graph. Okay, and what are the edges going across a cut in your graph? Well, whatever edges have one endpoint on the S side and the other endpoint on the S prime side, we say that those are the edges that are crossing the cut. So if my graph looks like that, then these are the edges that are crossing the cut. Okay, clear ho gaya? Okay. So if I have a graph, okay, so I think I've written the question. Okay, so suppose I have a graph with n vertices and m edges. How many cuts are there, roughly? What are the possible number of cuts that I can make? Okay. Yeah, m to the n is an upper bound for sure, but that's a bit of a pessimistic upper bound. What is a tighter upper bound? Okay, there was 2 to the n minus 1, and I think Dave or somebody had said 2 to the n. Okay, so let me just write it. It's roughly of the order of 2 to the n. Why is that? Where do I get 2 to the n from? Okay, so the way you do this is, so how do I make a cut? Remember, so think about these two sides as two buckets. Yeah, and each of your vertex is a ball. So you are throwing the ball either on the left hand side or on the right hand side. Okay. So for each ball, you have two options. So how many options do you have in all? Well, the total number of options you have is 2 to the n. But why did Kevin say 2 to the n minus 1? Well, because here a specific cut actually will be counted twice. Yeah. So remember, you can end up, I mean, okay, maybe, ye jo picture hai, right? So this cut, the same cut will happen if these three go into S bar and these two go into S. Okay. So these three on the left hand side, if they go to the right hand side, or jo right hand side mein wo left hand side mein gaya, you will end up having the same cut. So those you are counting twice in this calculation. So you should divide by 2. Okay. So the actual number is this divided by 2. And why is there a -1 now? Because we are not allowing the empty cut. Okay. What is the empty cut? Where everybody is on one side. Okay. So that I am disallowing. So this is the actual number of cuts. So in any graph with n vertices, you can have 2 to the n minus 1 cuts. Okay. So it's an exponential number of cuts. ठीक है? आ गया सबको समझ में? Great. Okay. So now the first thing that we want to prove is the following fact, that a graph G is not connected if and only if there exists a cut such that no edge crosses the cut. Okay. So let's assimilate this property a bit. So क्या कह रहा है ये lemma? This lemma is saying that if I have a graph G, then it is not connected if and only if I can produce a cut such that there are no edges crossing that cut. Okay, this is what the lemma is claiming. Yeah, and we want to verify or prove that this is actually correct. Okay. So so remember again, whenever we talk about if and only if, we have to prove both the directions. So we have to first assume left, and we have to conclude the right, and we have to assume the right, and we have to conclude the left. Okay. So in this case, I will do the other way around. So I will first prove this direction. Okay. So we assume that there exists an empty cut in my graph. What is an empty cut? It's a cut such that no edges are crossing, no edges are going across the cut. And then I want to claim that then G is not connected. Okay. So why is this true? तो एक empty cut मान लीजिए है ग्राफ में. तो empty cut कैसे दिखता है? So suppose this is S and this is S bar. यहाँ पे कुछ vertices है, यहाँ पे कुछ vertices है, but there are no edges going across it. Right. Yeah. So this is the easy direction, which is why I am doing this first. Okay. So if we really need to formally write this, how do you do? Well, you pick any vertex which is in S. So suppose such a vertex is U, and you pick any vertex which is in S bar. So suppose that is V. Okay. Right. Now the claim is there does not exist a path from U to V. Why? Because if such a path exists, ठीक है, तो U तो S में है और V S bar में है. So if such a path has to exist, then this path has to cross the cut at some point. ठीक है? It cannot happen that U and V are connected without an edge that is going across the cut. This is not possible. So agar U and V ko connected hona hai, okay, then there has to be an edge that is going across this cut. Okay, because if U, V are connected, this implies there exists a path, and this implies there exists an edge across S bar. ठीक है, तो इतना भी अब लिख दो एग्जाम में तो काफी है. ठीक है, this is what I want to say. This is enough. Okay, this is I mean this is intuitively good and this is formal enough, I think. तो इस टाइप के प्रूफ में आप इतना भी लिख दो 2-3 लाइन, तो this is enough. You can show a picture and you can write this. ठीक है, so everyone convinced about this thing? Yeah. Right. So you pick any two vertices UV on both the sides, then I mean clearly there cannot be a path, because if there is a path, then there has to be this edge which is crossing across. Remember, this edge is not necessarily the edge UV. It's just a edge in that path. Okay. ठीक है. So how about the other direction? So left to right. ये हो गया right to left. Okay. How about left to right? So I'm assuming that G is not connected. So how should the proof go? Well, what I need to really prove is that if G is not connected, then I have to produce evidence. I have to produce that there exists an empty cut. Good. So Soham has proposed a very the perfect first step. So what he's saying is, and I think most of you have got the thing, I guess. So what you do is, because this graph is not connected, there has to exist two vertices which are not connected to each other. Okay, so G not connected. So let U, V be two vertices without a path between them. Okay, अब क्या करूंगा मैं? How do I produce the two cuts? Very good. Okay, so now I make two sets. Okay, in fact I make just one set. The other set is just a consequence. Okay, so let S equal to all vertices that are reachable from U. Okay, so let S be the set of all the vertices that are reachable from U. ठीक है, तो वो कैसे होगा फिर? तो वो ऐसे दिखेगा. Suppose U is here. तो ये सब हम दिमाग में कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? तो everybody that is inside this thing has a path from U. Okay, तो ये हो गया हमारा S. और बाकी जो है, whatever, this is just V minus S. Whatever other vertices are in my graph, those I keep in V minus S. Okay, ठीक है? तो क्या किया हमने? I took this vertex U. I'm imagining all the vertices that are reachable from U, and I define my set as those set of vertices, and the rest I define as V minus S. I mean, of course, the rest is the other side of the cut. Okay. So which vertex is necessarily in V minus S? How do I prove that V minus S is actually non-empty? No, not U. U is on left hand side, right? So it's V. Yeah, and this is very, very important. So remember, जब भी आप कोई proof करते हो, तो हमेशा go back to the statement that you started with. So you started with the fact that G is not connected. So you have to keep asking yourself, where am I using this fact crucially? So here is where you are using this fact crucially. The very fact that the set V minus S is non-empty is a conclusion of the fact, or is a consequence of the fact that there is no path between U and V. We have selected such a pair, and such a pair actually exists by our starting assumption. नहीं तो हम ये सब नहीं कर पाते. The rest is clear, right? Okay, it's not clear. We need to do one more argument. But at least I know that, yeah, this is not an, I mean, yeah, there are vertices on both sides of the cut. Okay. So now I claim that this has to be an empty cut. Matlab, there cannot be an edge going across the cut, right? Why is that? Again, let's assume that there is an edge. So suppose karo ki there is an edge here. Okay. So why is that a contradiction? No, UV does not become connected. That I cannot say directly, right? Huh. So yeah, I think yeah, maybe you can say that, but that will require some more argument. But the easiest thing to say is that this. So agar isko main x bolta hu, isko y bolta hu, right? And if this red edge exists in my graph across this cut, then y should have been included in S. What is S doing in V minus S? Yeah, so that's a contradiction, right? So let's just write this down. So claim is SS bar is an empty cut. Okay, otherwise there exists an edge xy. This implies y belongs to S, which is a contradiction. Okay, हो गया? Any doubt? Okay, ठीक है. तो इसको याद रखिए. ये जो लेमा है, we will be requiring this, right? So if G is not connected, if and only if there exists an empty cut. Okay, good. So now we will prove a couple of easy facts. So here is one, remember what I'm doing now is just building the blocks so that we are able to give a clean proof of correctness for Prim's algorithm. ठीक है, ये सब हमारा building blocks है, अभी हम real proof में नहीं है. So we are not even talking about Prim's algorithm yet. We are just arguing about some properties of cuts and edges. Yeah. Okay. So here is another. It's a very easy fact. It's very easy to prove. So what I'm saying here is that if there is a cut, okay, right, and suppose there is a cycle, okay. So all of us know what a cycle is. So it's a path such that the first vertex and the last vertex are the same. That's a cycle. Okay. So I'm claiming that suppose there is an edge E, which is part of a cycle and which is crossing this cut. So this is S, this is S bar. Suppose this is crossing this cut, then I claim that there has to be at least another edge crossing this cut, which also belongs to this cycle. So why should this be true? So what I claim is that ये भी रहना पड़ेगा, and this edge E prime should also belong to the cycle C. So why is this true? Huh. Okay. Right. Okay. So the reason being is, yeah. So the point is, okay. Let's say it's a cycle, right? So you can as well imagine that this is the starting point of your cycle. It does not matter because it's a cycle. You can imagine any starting point. So suppose the left end of this edge E, which is U, I have marked it as U. That is the starting point of your cycle. So your cycle crosses across this cut, yeah, through the edge E, and it reaches some vertex V. But now the point is, because it's a cycle, if it has to reach V again, then at some point this path has to cross over to the other side again. Yeah, that's just, it's as simple as that. Okay, so the cycle goes from S to S bar, but eventually it has to come back from S bar to S, and that has to be done through another edge. Okay, so the proof is, since it's a cycle, once it goes from S to S bar, it must come back from S bar to S. Okay, so Kevin, I briefly saw what you have written. I think that proof might not work. So what you are trying to say is that if I remove one edge, then there exists another edge. So like that will not prove that this edge crosses this cut, right? Remember, the important thing is to prove two things, that this edge is part of the cycle and this edge also crosses this cut. So it's true that if you remove one edge of a cycle, the entire graph still remains connected, but that does not mean that there has to be another edge which is crossing this cut. So I think that will not exactly work there. Okay, here. Okay, but this is fine, right? Okay. Okay. So we call this the double cross lemma. Yeah. Okay. So so we'll be once we have proved this double cross lemma, what we really need again, Okay, U and V are in different sets, so connectedness will mean cross edge, right? So that is then what we have just said. Yeah. Okay, maybe I misread your statement. That is exactly what we said, that yeah, that there exists another path and this path has to cross this cut as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So an easy corollary of this double cross lemma is what I call the lonely edge corollary. So what is the lonely edge corollary saying? It's saying that if E is the only edge crossing some cut, okay. So now मैं इसका उल्टा बोल रहा हूँ. So suppose there is one cut, there exists some cut such that this edge E is the only edge that is crossing this cut. Okay. So this is some cut S and S bar. Yeah, and this some cut is very important. I'm not saying that E is the lonely edge in all the cut that it belongs to. ये मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ. I'm saying that there exists some cut such that E is a lonely edge. Okay. Then I claim that E cannot be part of any cycle. Okay. In my graph, E cannot be part of any cycle at all. So why is that true? So is the statement clear? So yeah, so you can again try contradiction. Exactly. So remember, because by double cross lemma, so suppose for contradiction that E is part of any cycle, but if E is part of any cycle, then ये जो हमारा cut है, then there has to be, you know, another edge E prime which is crossing this cut. Yeah. So in other words, it's a contrapositive of the double cross lemma. Okay. So this is called contrapositive. Contra. Edge, then it cannot be part of a cycle, because if it is part of a cycle, then there has to be another edge across this cut and belonging to the, you know, yeah, right, belonging to that cycle. So E cannot be the lonely edge. Okay, cool. Okay. So I think those are the building blocks, and now, you know, the proof will just pop out of just application of these facts. Okay, they are very easy consequences. Okay. So please, ठीक है ना, everything. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's prove the first claim about Prim's algorithm, which is that Prim's returns a spanning tree of G. Okay, तो हमें दो चीज essentially prove करना है. एक prove करना है कि it actually spans the entire set of vertices, assuming that it's a connected graph, and the second thing is that it's a tree, that it's a connected graph and it does not have a cycle. Okay, so let's. So let's prove the first thing, right? That T spans vertices in S at every iteration. So I'm trying to prove a modest claim here. What I'm trying to prove is that at every iteration, remember, I am maintaining this set S. Okay. And I have a set of edges that I have included in my whatever I claim to be a tree, but whatever my set T is. So what I'm claiming now is that T is actually a subgraph which connects everybody in S. So why is that true? Or how should you prove this? It's a two-line proof, but still, how would you prove this? What is the technique that you should use here? Right? Okay, so since it's a loop invariant, I think it's immediate that you should try induction here. Okay, so proof by induction. Proof by induction. Okay, and the proof is very easy actually. So what you claim is that, okay, base case क्या है? Base case में there is only one vertex. It's just the source. So वो तो it's connected to itself for sure. So that's your base case. So I'm just writing it briefly. So base case is S equal to V, which surely is correct. And now you assume that, let's say after some k iterations, this is true. So why should this be true at the k plus 1th iteration? Well, k plus 1th iteration means what are you exactly doing? You are looking at the edges that are crossing this barrier, right? And remember, by induction hypothesis, you have assumed that everything here has been connected to V, or everything here is mutually connected. So the new vertex that you are adding, right? ये इनमें से कोई एक new vertex आप add करोगे. So that vertex is also connected to the rest of the thing. Okay. So अगर ये this is true till kth iteration, then it has to be true for the k plus 1th iteration. Okay. So induction hypothesis is true till iteration k, and the induction is there is the new vertex has an edge to some vertex in current. Okay, everybody still there? Okay, good. Yeah, my internet is being very funny today. I don't know. All right, let's see. Okay, so share content. Oh. Okay, somehow the recording is still going on, so hopefully it never paused. Okay, ठीक है. So is to some vertex in the current S. ठीक है. तो ये तो clear हो गया कि it will span everything. Okay. Right. So now, how do we prove that S is equal to? What exactly is the induction statement? The induction statement or the claim is that if I look at the current set of edges, which is T, remember, so let's just go back to the pseudocode ones, right? So let's just recall the pseudocode. So remember, what is your T? Your T just contains, at every iteration, you are adding one edge to your, to your set of edges, right? So what I claim is that if I look at this set of edges, then it connects all the vertices that are till now included in S. It spans all the vertices in S. So the edges in T, they span the vertices in S, is what I'm claiming at every iteration. Okay? And this you prove by induction. Okay. So now let's see. So why is S equal to V at termination? So remember, what is the termination condition? The termination condition was that आपका ये S है और आपका कुछ V minus S है, and there are no edges going across, which is when you terminate. That's your termination condition. So why can I claim that in this case, S has to be V? There cannot be any other option. Which property? Excellent. It's the empty cut lemma, right? So assume for contradiction, assume for contradiction this is not true. Not true. That is, S is not equal to V at termination. Yeah. But this implies that S comma V minus S is an empty cut. है ना? तो आपका V minus S में there are some vertices. ठीक है? You are assuming for the sake of contradiction that S is not equal to V. तो ये आपका S है और इधर पे आपका कुछ और vertices है, and you are claiming that there are no edges going across. So this is exactly the definition of an empty cut. Okay? But what do we know by the empty cut lemma? We know that if there is an empty cut, then the graph cannot be a connected graph. Okay? So this can only happen if your graph is not connected. So if your graph is connected, then S has to span all the vertices at the end of the procedure. Okay? This implies G is not connected. ठीक है? Cool. Any doubt about this part? Right? Okay. So let's do the third part. Why doesn't T have a cycle? How should we prove this? So if I look at my subgraph T, which is nothing but a set of edges. No, Kevin, let's not go there. We have built these building blocks. So let's just try to use them. See, what I'm trying to, you can prove this in many ways, but what I'm really trying to enforce here is that, you know, how proofs are formally done. Let's say when we write a research paper. Okay, we are adding one edge at a time, but what can I claim about such an edge? So there is something that we have proved a couple of slides ago. So try to use one of that. Lonely cut lemma, very good. So how do I apply, double cross or the contrapositive? So how do I exactly apply the double cross lemma here? Okay, let me actually allow unmuting. So one of you can just unmute and tell me. So how exactly do I, so first of all, on which graph do I apply the lonely cut lemma? Do I apply it on, so on which graph do I apply the lonely cut lemma? So okay, so let's remember the statement of the lonely cut lemma. The lonely cut lemma हमें ये बोलता है कि if there is a set, if there is a cut S bar, so this is a cut, right? If there exists one such cut such that this edge E is the only edge that is going across this cut, then this cannot be part of a cycle. Okay? So now अगर हमें prove करना है कि T is a graph which does not contain any cycle, then how should I prove this? Okay, so let's try to prove a relatively modest thing. So we want to prove that any edge E added, so I'm looking at a specific A added to T cannot be part of any cycle in T. ये proof कर सकते हैं क्या हम? So because this looks like a more intimidating thing to prove, so let's break it down. Let's take any edge. Let's take any edge that is being added to T. Let's think of any iteration. And I just want to claim कि ये जो edge है, ये कोई भी साइकिल का पार्ट नहीं हो सकता. In the graph T, remember, not G. G में तो हो सकता है वो साइकिल का पार्ट. But T में क्यों नहीं हो सकता है साइकिल का पार्ट? So how exactly do you apply the lonely cut lemma? Which is the certifying cut that proves that this is actually a lonely edge?
Hello.
Yeah.
So, sir, we can say that we have two cuts S and S, V minus S, and there is no edge between them until now. And now when we add an edge between them, so there is only one edge between two cuts. So this edge will not be a part of cycle.
Absolutely. Very good. Okay. So let me summarize what he just said. So again, let's look at the iteration when E was getting added to T. Okay? So this is, suppose this is the situation at that iteration. So ये edge जो E हमारा edge है, this is getting added to my set T, right? Now remember, so this is V minus S. So according to my algorithm, so far I have not included any edge between S and V minus S. So this was sort of an empty cut so far. Yeah, that's how my algorithm proceeds. Now I have added this one edge E. Okay, but now you have to be a bit careful. You have to claim that ये जो particular cut है, ठीक है? For this particular cut, E is the only edge that is ever going across. Okay, so why is that true? So ये जो cut S V minus S है, इसके across the only edge that can ever go through, that can ever go across is this edge E. So why is this the case? Right, it's a consequence of the algorithm, because remember ये जो UV मेरा vertex है, so what happens now? So once I have added U, now my S actually changes, right? So now my S becomes whatever S पहले था, but अभी तो ये UV included हो जाएगा. So this is no longer my set S anymore. Yeah, this becomes some other cut S prime. Okay, so it always remains the fact that if I look at the tree T or the subgraph T, तो ये जो S cut है, इससे बस एक ही एज इसके अक्रॉस जा रही है. If I just look at my subgraph T, okay, which means this is a lonely edge going across this particular cut. Please remember, this does not mean that this is the only edge going across every possible cut. ये जरूरी नहीं है. There might be some other cut such that E and somebody else is going across that. ये तो definitely हो सकता है. But ये particular cut अगर मैं देखता हूँ, which cut? The cut which was responsible for the inclusion of E. For this cut, E has to be the lonely edge. Okay? So, the claim is E is the lonely edge for the cut responsible for its inclusion in the algorithm. Okay? And now you can apply the lonely cut lemma. That completes the proof. तो हम क्या प्रूफ किया हमने कि जो भी एज आप ऐड कर रहे हो टी में, that cannot be part of a cycle in T. So if this is true for all edges, then we can conclude that there are no cycles in T. Okay? Questions? What's the time? Oh, lots of time. ठीक है, तो complete ही कर लेंगे हम. But any questions so far? So is everybody convinced that Prim's actually returns a spanning tree? Yeah. हाँ, okay. The last claim. अच्छा, तो last claim में हम ये कह रहे हैं कि so I want to prove that T does not contain a cycle. So T क्या है? T एक subgraph है हमारा which is the set of edges that is included by my algorithm. There might be other edges in my graph and I don't consider them. I'm just focusing on the edges that are added to T. ये जो subgraph है मेरा. So let's look at the subgraph T. I have to prove that T does not contain a cycle. So now in order to prove that, I am first setting a modest goal for myself. Modest goal मेरा ये है कि whenever an edge, so I'm looking at any edge that is being added to T, and I want to claim that this edge cannot be part of any cycle in T. Again, remember, it can be part of a cycle in the original graph. Yeah, we are not commenting anything about that. All I'm claiming is, ये जो edge है, ये T में कोई cycle में belong नहीं कर सकता. In order to be able to do that, I want to appeal to the lonely cut lemma. तो lonely cut lemma क्या बोलता है कि if I can produce evidence of one cut, बस एक cut मुझे produce करना है, such that E is the lonely edge going across that cut. Lonely edge मतलब बस ये एक ही edge है T में जो S से V minus S तक जा रहा है. And I claim that the cut which was responsible for inclusion of E, that is actually such an evidence. Why? Because think of the iteration when E was being added to your solution. At that point, whatever was in S was already connected. Okay, that we have proved in the first claim. Whatever was in V minus S, that is not part of S, so it's not connected, which means that ये जो cut है, इस cut के across अभी कोई भी edge नहीं जा रहा है. So which is the only edge that you are adding across this cut? The only edge that you are adding is the edge E. And इसके बाद आपका cut, ये cut तो और नहीं consider करता है आपका algorithm. So it will not add any more edge which is going across this specific cut. ठीक है? We are considering only the edges in T, Excel. That is very, very important. If we consider the edges in the whole graph, then we cannot do all these claims. Of course, there can be cycles in your whole graph. Yeah, sure. So this is only looking at the edges that are added in T. तो इससे हमारा prove हो गया कि E is a lonely edge. So E cannot be part of any cycle. But now E is not a special edge, right? It's any edge that has ever been added to your graph T, which means that T में ही कोई cycle नहीं है. So no edge in T can be part of a cycle. Okay? So that concludes this proof. Okay, just go over this once more. I think it needs a bit of a digestion, but hopefully it will make sense. Okay, once you go over it 1 or 2 times more. Okay, so what I will do is for 5-6 minutes, I will set up the next proof. We cannot complete that one, and in fact that is the more important proof in some sense. ये तो थोड़ा सा intuitive सा था, but हमने formalize कर लिया. But the other one is not at all obvious, that why this should give me the minimum cost tree. ठीक है? So let's just set it up. So yeah, claim 1. So claim 2 is Prims returns a minimum spanning tree of G. Okay, minimum cost spanning tree of G. So in order to do that, what we have to prove is a very, very interesting and important property of minimum spanning trees of a graph. Okay, so the property is as follows. The property ये बोल रहा है कि suppose there is an edge. Okay, so suppose there is an edge E, right, such that there is some cut. Okay, this sum cut is very important. So both is very important. Suppose there is any edge and there is some cut such that E is the minimum cost edge among the edges that are crossing over. So this is some cut SS bar in my graph such that E is minimum among the, let's say E1, E or E2 hai. So E equal to the minimum among E1, E, E2. Okay, then this implies that E must belong to the MST. This is what the lemma is claiming. Okay, everyone understands the statement? So if I am looking at an edge E such that वो कोई भी एक cut है जिसका वो minimum edge है, तो then this edge E has to be necessarily part of the minimum cost spanning tree of my graph. And here I'm assuming that all the edge costs are distinct. Okay, this is a point where the proof will become slightly different if the edges are not distinct. Okay. So let's see examples. I think examples will make the thing clear. Okay, क्या बोल रहे हैं ये? So let's go back to our good old example. And now I have drawn these minimum spanning tree. So let's verify if the lemma is true. Okay. तो चलिए पहले हम ये AD वाला edge को देख लेते हैं. Okay. So AD is an edge of cost 2. So which is the certifying cut for this edge AD? What do I mean by certifying cut? Is a certifying cut मतलब ये है कि which is a cut such that this edge is the minimum cost edge that is going across. Which is such a cut? तो ये हम लिख लेते हैं. So edges and certifying cuts. तो कौन सा कट ऐसा है इस ग्राफ में such that ये जो AD edge है that is the minimum cost edge that is going across this cut. Very good. Okay. So it's the cut. देखिए reachability is not important. Vishwajit, we just need a partition. तो ये partition बस ये partition है. So I put D on one side of the cut and everything else on the other side of the cut. तो ये तो बस एक ही edge जा रही है and that has to be the minimum cost edge. So for the edge which is AD, AD भी कर सकते हैं, but trivially if you can keep D on one side and everything else on the other side, that's also okay. ठीक है? तो edge क्या है? AD edge है. What is the certifying cut? D and everything else, which is A, B, E, C and F. ठीक है? चलिए next को देखते हैं. So what is the certifying cut for the edge AB? Which is the certifying cut for the edge that is AB? क्योंकि AB तो included है minimum spanning tree में. So according to the lemma, there should be one cut so that is the minimum. Yeah, it's similar to the other one, right? So if I just take this cut, yeah. So in fact I can right. AD भी कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ A भी कर सकते हो, दोनों कट के लिए ये true है. But yeah, you are right. So I can even take this one. इसके लिए भी ये true है. But I could have also taken this sole cut, which is A on one side and everything else on the other side. Even for that, this edge 1 is a minimum cost edge. Okay, good. So AB के लिए चलिए AD कर देते हैं. AD and यहाँ पे है B, C and F. अच्छा. How about okay, so then आगे बढ़ते हैं. How about the edge BE? How about the edge BE? Which is the cut for which it's the minimum E and the rest, right? Okay, great. So again, if I just take this one, then this 3 wala jo hai, that is the minimum. That is the certifying cut. Okay, right? So for BE, E and everything else. Yeah. Okay. How about BF? BF might be slightly. BF is also easy, right? Yeah. So this is a bad example. यहाँ पे सारे trivial cuts हो गया, but it's okay. क्या कर सकते हैं? ठीक है. So it happens that all the certifying cuts here are trivial cuts because there is a vertex such that it's incident on. But anyway, so BF is certified by this cut. Okay, it might be certified by some other cut as well. I don't know. Yeah. In fact, if I take FC, that also certifies the edge FB. Right. So if I take the cut F, C on one side and everything else on the other side. So I'm talking about this cut. इसके लिए भी 4 is the minimum cost edge that is crossing across. So both of them can certify. Okay. Similarly for 5. So abhi everyone understands the statement. Any doubt about what the statement is saying? तो कोई भी आपको एक certifying cut produce करना है, and the claim is that for every edge in the span included in the minimum spanning tree, right, there has to be this certifying cut. Okay. Okay. So this is what we have to claim. Every edge included should have a certifying cut with one endpoint in a set and rest in other set. Yeah, it should cross. Certifying cut का definition क्या है? Certifying cut का definition है कि it's the minimum cost edge that is crossing that cut. Crossing का मतलब वही है कि one endpoint is on the left and the other endpoint is on the right. So it has to cross over. Okay. So for any edge, if you can produce a certifying cut, no. Every edge will not be a no. That's not necessary. I can show you an example next time. So there can be an example where some edge will not be part of a trivial cut. It has to be part of a non-trivial. I mean, it's the certifying cut with respect to a non-trivial cut. Yeah, this just happened for this example. It's a bad example, right? But I can show you an example. Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's stop here today. I think I will do the proof of this. Okay, why did we prove T does not have any cycle? Shruti, we have to prove that it's a tree. So how could you otherwise prove that it's a tree? Yeah, exactly. Because it's a tree. Yes. Yeah. So remember in Kruskal's algorithm, we explicitly do this. We explicitly check whenever we are trying to add an edge, we explicitly check that it is a cycle. So us case mein we don't need to prove. But is case mein to we are not doing that explicitly. We are just adding edges, in some weird fashion. So we have to prove that that does not end up in introducing a cycle. Any other question?